Okay, everybody, this is it. The final of the final. Thank you for the applause. The final show here at the World Culinary Showcase. We couldn't do it without all of you. So if you're hearing my voice, come on down. We love an audience here at the World Culinary Showcase. Do not think that this show is over. We are closing it down right here because it's going to be so much fun. So audience right here, give yourselves a big, huge round of applause. Thanks for being here. Great job. Thank you, and welcome to Constance and Jimmy and Corwin. You are at the chef's table. Are you excited?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Good. Are you all foodies? Are you in the food industry? Yeah. What do you do, Connie?
Move money around.
Move money around. Okay. Jimmy.
I work with Edmonton Economic Development up in Canada. for
Okay.
food
And
business.
Corwin.
And I manage Comfort Catering in San Diego.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much. Okay. Our final chef. He is a regular judge on the Food Network's highest rated hit show, Chopped. You all watch it?
Yes.
Amazing show. He also is an award-winning chef and owner of 4 restaurants. He nabbed the title of the sexiest chef, so we have to give a little shout out to the sexy chef by People magazine. And he's also author of his new cookbook, Season of Authority, and president of the New York City chapter of the New York Restaurant Association. So he is one busy guy, and we are so grateful that he took time out of his busy schedule to be here at the World Culinary Showcase. Please welcome the fabulous chef. Are you ready? Marc Murphy. Thank you. Come on out here, Marc Murphy. Woo! Hi, chef.
Where's everybody? I'm like the
I know.
closer.
Come on down.
I'm like
You're the
Mariano
clo-
Rivera here. How are you?
You're the
you
closer.
take care of money, huh?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk a bit. She takes care of the money. We're obviously
Right.
she moves money around. Hopefully, she can move it into my bank account. Maybe that would be good. Sir, good to see you. I know this guy. That's a strange thing.
Oh, that's
I don't
funny.
know you yet, but nice.
Sexy, right? Sexy.
Sexy, yeah. Well, exactly. Hi, everybody. Is anybody else still out there who wants to come on down? and
Come
do a
on
little,
down. You could eat.
little,
Come on down.
Spaghetti alla carbonara, and we're also going to be doing a zucchini salad. All very, very simple recipes. Thank you for being here. I hope everybody is enjoying the show or enjoyed the show.
We are.
It's quite daunting out there, isn't it? There's so much going on.
Overwhelming.
So anyway, the recipes today are out of my book. My book, Seasoned with Authority, is a book that I wanted to write for a long time. It's my first book.
I read that. I said, this can't be true. It's your first cookbook?
It's my first cookbook. Yes,
Wow.
I decided that it was really time to do a cookbook. I better get the water boiling if we're ever going to make pasta.
Right.
So writing a cookbook for me was really, I basically got all these recipes together of things that I've always wanted to sort of share with everybody. And it's a lot of my life story of where I started and why I started cooking. There's all sorts of great stuff in there. But the most important thing is it's a cookbook that's easy to use. I want people to buy it. I want people to get it dirty in the kitchen. I want people that are not confident home cooks to sort of become confident home cooks. I think it's important to decide, if you're going to cook, you have to get really good. You have to get better at your knife skills. Then you sort of get away from the shyness of wanting to cook. I know my wife takes her, 10 minutes to chop up an onion, and it
Right.
takes somebody who has good knife skills
Right.
like 30 seconds to chop up an onion.
Right. Well, it sounds like it's the book for me, and it sounds like it's a book for most people. So thank you for finally writing a book that you will be signing afterwards. So you're all lucky. Okay. So we start with the spaghetti.
Well, first I got to put a lid on this so it'll actually boil. I think
Okay.
everybody knows how to boil water, but that's a pretty good, it's a pretty good tip. You got to cover it.
That's a good tip.
So the zucchini is very simple. It's a very nice, refreshing summer salad. It's got zucchini, it's got mint, it's got lemon juice, it's got some pecorino cheese. Did I forget anything? And of course, salt and pepper. Because obviously, since my book's called Seasoned with Authority, I better season the salad. So first, I really wanted to get this pasta going, so it doesn't really, so we can actually make this. It's almost there. Forget it. We'll wait. So you take your zucchinis, cut the ends off, and you get yourself a mandolin. You guys use a mandolin
Very
before?
important. Do y'all have a mandolin in your home?
This is a mandolin. There's like a bunch of different brands out there. There's also a Japanese mandolin that are really inexpensive. But you're going to use the mandolin with the little teeth thing. Where's the camera? Can you guys see
It's
it?
above you.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
a monitor in front of you. You can see too.
Oh, it's okay. Well, you
Yeah.
see the little teeth? So that's going to make little zucchini spaghetti. Very simply, we're just going to,
And are they different like widths on the blade, or are they all the
Yeah,
same?
there's all different size blades.
Uh-huh.
There's all different size. So you see how it turns into a little spaghetti?
Right.
What I do is I usually just go around 4 times. I don't use the center of the zucchini because I find that the seeds are too watery.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting. You know, usually you're doing demos and half the time nobody's eating it, but that was a lot of pressure. I got 3 people on my
Right.
left here that look very hungry.
2 big guys too.
All right, it'll
Sorry.
be good. I promise. It'll be good. I swear it'll be good. So as I have to make enough for these guys.
How do you know Jimmy?
Well, he's from Edmonton, and he has a great food festival.
Okay.
What do you call it exactly? It's not just a food festival. It's a
Host. It's part of a hospitality incubator.
It's like a hospitality incubator. That sounds pretty fancy, right?
Okay.
It's the thing is there's so much going on up in Edmonton, and I had no idea. So he invited me up last time, and I did a couple of things for him at this incubator.
Mm-hmm.
A better name than incubator. It sounds a little
Sterile.
Sounds a little scary. You're making like test tube babies or something. But
Right.
no, it's all about. But it's not just about food. It's about all the business of food and trying to get more economic things going up there. And it's actually sponsored by the city of Edmonton. It's amazing up in Canada. The city actually gets involved and helps them out because they're trying to create more jobs. They're trying to create more restaurants. They're trying to create more economic things going on up there. They're building a huge new hockey center. The guy who owns the Oilers up there is building
Right.
this big new facility. So they're going to need more restaurants. They're going to need more cooks. They're going to need more busboys. Everybody.
They're going to need Constance, who knows how to move money around, right? Lucky you're sitting next to
I
her.
think I think up in Edmonton they already know how to move money around.
They know how
pretty
to
well.
do that.
I think they got that down.
Right.
It was amazing to me how
How much investment is there?
there's so much going on up there, and it was really fun. So I'm definitely trying to support his cause up there.
That's
'cause it's a
great.
great town. Of course, I went in the summertime. I don't know what the heck it's like in the winter.
Right.
It's probably worse than here, though. A little chilly up
colder,
there.
A little chilly.
Yeah, I don't know. So there we go.
Looks beautiful.
I made up my little spaghetti zucchini. Everything I'm making today is spaghetti. Making spaghetti vegetables. I'm making spaghetti carbonara. So you saw that didn't take too long, right? And this is something actually you can do in advance. We're boiling.
Wait, oh, good.
We're almost there. We're going to go with it. So you can do this in advance. You can cut up your zucchini, let it sit, maybe put a towel on the bottom. You can put it in the fridge in the afternoon, and then when your guests come over, you dress it at the last minute. So right now I'm going to let this sit for a second. We're going to finish this off. I know you guys are hungry, but I want to get the carbonara going as well. I don't want everybody, this is the last show of the day. I don't want everybody staying around too late. Everybody's got to pack up.
Right.
Is anybody else coming around here? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Questions?
This is going to be, I'm going
Are
to
you
make a
good?
little pancetta. Hold on, I need a saute pan for that, aren't I?
I want to know what your wife Pam thinks of your title by People Magazine.
She thought it was very funny. Wait, I'm going to need a saute pan to cook the bacon. But
Saute pan. Is anyone here?
Does anybody bring a saute
there we
pan
go.
with them?
We got one coming up.
My wife thought it was very funny. I mean, and I didn't tell her. We worked on this together with Emily, who's here. They came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be in the People Magazine's Sexiest Chef, and I thought it was. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I thought it was hilarious.
Right.
It's a big pan. Hold
But
on.
I'm sure,
Hold on.
you
I got to
know.
figure out what the hell I'm doing up here.
You're too sexy.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing up
It's
here.
put you.
This isn't like my
Put you
normal
out of your
kitchen, you know. God, I got water boiling. And
Well, yeah. Clearly, your water is now
the
boiling.
wheels are coming off this demo. I got to tell you, Jesus.
That's okay.
Lord. All right, there we go. I got some heat. We're going. All right. But the funniest was at work.
I'm sure.
Everybody gave me a lot of ribbing at work. It was quite funny. All my waitresses and waiters who work for me in all my restaurants in Manhattan were giving me plenty of shit for this title. So I called my HR person and I said, I think I'm being harassed. And she very eloquently told me to make sure I filed all the complaints, but put them in alphabetical order to make it easier for her.
Right. Well,
So,
I
yeah.
think, we all can see that you're very easy on the eyes
Oh,
and you're
Lord.
fit and you're smart, but you're also really, really nice. So that's, I think, the sexiest part of you. You're pretty funny, too. Kathy has a question for you, Chef.
My family name is Murphy, and I
Oh.
see that's your last name, and I want to know what your background is. I'm from Ireland, actually, so.
I'm very. No, this is the most embarrassing question I get sometimes because I've never been to Ireland. I'm looking at this. I'm sorry. I'm not being rude. I just don't want to lose a finger. It's very, very. It's very. It's not a good thing for a demo when you lose a finger. But I do want to get this in the pan. Well, no, my grandfather on my father's side, his parents came from Ireland and they settled in Boston, outside of Boston. This is why my father still calls me Mac. He still can't say my name. I'm always Mac. But so I've never been there. Yes, I have some background from my obviously my last name is very Irish. I'm going to get there one of these days. I promise myself. But my background is very different. My mother's French. My father's American, Irish American. But I was born in Milan in Italy.
Oh.
And I spent most of my childhood in France and Italy growing up because my father was an American diplomat. So we moved every 2 years. Born in Milan, lived in Paris, lived in Villefranche, lived in Rome, lived in Genoa, Spoleto, all sorts of places. And that's sort of, I always equate people who say, where did you learn how to cook? I said, well, first you got to learn how to eat. And I got lucky with that department. I got to eat really well as a kid. Even in the summer, my grandparents had a little place where they retired in the south of France, above Grasse. And I used to go there every summer and spend long summers with my grandparents there. And I used to love it. It was one of my favorite things.
That's a great way to grow up, right?
It's not bad,
Kathy.
It's fine. I have 2 kids now, and we live in Manhattan, and I'm hoping I have 4. As I always tell people, I have 4 restaurants, 1 wife, 2 kids, and I'm on a TV show in New York. So
it all works.
I think I'm kind of stuck there.
And and you traveled so much already, but I'm sure you love to get on an airplane and take your kids to see the world too.
I do. We always try to travel with them and go around different places. But the one thing is I didn't grow up in one place, so I always sort of thought, what's that going to be like to have my kids grow up in one place?
Right.
And I like it because I don't have any friends from when I was younger.
Right.
Not because
you
I'm
were
a
always
jerk, but
moving.
I always moved.
Right.
At that age, we didn't have the Facebook and the Twitter, you see.
Right.
So we couldn't keep up with each other. We'd have to write letters. And at 12 years old, when you leave, let's say, Rome to go move to Genoa, you don't write letters at 12 years old to keep up with your friends there. You just start over, you get new ones.
Right.
Right? The Twitter, that stuff, right? The social media. No, we don't have that. So right now I'm just rendering out my pancetta. You could use pancetta. You could also use, I used to use just bacon, like the sliced stuff out of the package. When I was young and single in New York, and you'd go out, and you could always stop at a bodega and pick up some cheap Parmesan, some eggs, some bacon, and some pasta, and you could always make a meal for yourself or anybody you might have met that evening. And it was always very, very helpful.
Right.
Nice. To have something to eat after you've been out drinking all
Right.
night. This is the
And
best
soak it
meal
in.
right here. It's really absolutely fantastic.
Soak it
So
in.
we're going to get that going. We're going to throw our pasta in the water, which is the water salted? No, it's not salted, but we must have some more salt around. I have a salt and pepper mix I always have in the kitchen. I can use this.
Look at all that
It'll
salt.
salt the water. It's fine.
And that's kosher salt?
But yes, I always make this mix. I always make a 1 part pepper and 5 parts salt. I grind it in a
Grinder.
like those coffee things. I always have one in the kitchen, and I grind it, and I use it, and then I start over, and I just make new stuff. I just find it easier to always have a salt and pepper mix around. You make sure you season everything.
Right.
It's easier with the kosher salt because your hands in the kitchen, you're always washing them, so you get that moisture. You can then season
Right.
sort of evenly over any proteins or anything. Let me put this pasta
And
water
do you
in
finish
now.
with
Not yet.
sea salt? I learned that the other day.
I do finish some dishes with sea salt.
With
It
sea
depends.
salt.
It
Okay.
depends. All right. So I'm going to finish this first so you guys can start eating.
How do we even
As you
get
s-
good
as I
or-
said-
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. This thing here, it's almost done. I got a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil, and then we have some mint, some lemon juice. You could also add pine nuts to this dish.
Show us your knife skills 101 right there.
Right there, you just, a little chiffonade of some mint in here.
So you're sort of like going back and forth,
It's much
keeping your
faster than I am.
Poof.
Much
There we
faster.
go. Little lemon juice, a little salt and pepper, and then we'll dress it. I'm trying to make this so it times out right, but it's very difficult.
hardest part. My husband just started to cook at 53. I think it's very sexy, so that's why I told him he needed to learn. And he keeps saying to me, it's all about the timing. I'm like, yeah, I know, but
Why,
it really is.
you're sitting in the living room starving? You're like, all right, man, where's the
Right.
food?
Right, but yeah, it's all about the timing.
So this one here, I say this dish here, it's all about the mandolin because look how cool that looks, right?
It's beautiful.
You make this at home, people are going to come over and go, wow, man, that's so cool. And it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah, and it's healthy.
Get a mandolin.
And it is the season, right?
Right. Seasons
All right.
are important.
Pasta thing on my big.
Now we're going to put some cheese in here. I like using a peeler. Or I try to like using a peeler. This might be a
That's
right-handed
pecorino.
peeler. This is a little pecorino. And it's funny, you know, it depends how you use your peeler. Sometimes they're better for right-handed or left-handed, depending on the actual peeler. Somebody brought me back once from Paris a left-handed peeler because I'm left-handed,
I have that has four.
and it actually was very funny. It worked really, really well. A little more cheese? You guys like cheese? You guys like cheese, right?
Like cheese. Yes.
You like cheese?
Everybody likes cheese.
Yeah.
Nobody's allergic to cheese, right?
There's a huge cheese booth, this Wisconsin cheese booth. It's unbelievable.
Right.
It's like you can just go and just live there. Oh,
So how many of you here are in the restaurant business? I guess pretty much a lot of people here.
what's
Okay.
your best advice to the restaurant
Well, I was
operators
best advice.
with your 4 very successful restaurants?
Well, I always say for me, it's about consistency. If somebody comes to your restaurant and eats a salad and really likes it, it better taste the same the next time they come in. I think that's something that people
Depend
very
on.
much, they depend on that. They depend on a nice, consistent product. And I have 2 restaurants called Landmark in New York, and it's a neighborhood bistro. And I will say it's even more important with neighborhood restaurants like that because when the people leave their house to come over to your restaurant, if they are neighborhood people and they eat there all the time, they probably know what they want to eat before they even leave the house. So one, it better be on the menu and it better taste exactly the same way it did last time, or else they're going to think something's wrong.
Right. Clara has a question for you, Chef.
Yes.
Hi, I wanted to know what's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question because I love to cook so many things. And I always tell people, they're like, oh, well, what are we going to make for dinner? And to me, you have to be inspired. I like to go to the store and see what's fresh and see what's there. So to me, it's not, I feel like the ingredients tell me what I want to cook when I go to the store. Like if you get in your head, you really want to make racks of lamb and you get there and all the racks of lamb don't look very good. Well, it's disappointing if you try to still use the racks of lamb and it's not something you really want. But for me,
Thank you.
I like to cook anything. I mean, my background is French, Italian, sort of American cooking, so I sort of stay within that wheelhouse. I don't veer off and I'm not going to start making sushi or anything like that. I don't think it probably wouldn't be right. I probably wouldn't make it right. I'd rather go out and eat that.
Okay, thank you.
Do you dine out a lot? Thank you, Clara.
I try to. I try to go see what everybody else is doing and see
I know
how-
you were at
see how-
RPM last night.
I was at RPM.
RPM steak.
How did you? Were you there too?
No, I just, no. I know that because Jeff Morrow told us.
I told him not to tell him.
He told everybody.
Jesus, he's not very trustworthy. I got to tell you.
Did you like it?
I did. We had a great
Yeah,
time.
it's a great place.
And it was very funny because when I got there, unbeknownst to me, there was the guy who's the general manager there is the guy that opened up Landmark with me
Wow.
in Tribeca 11 years ago. An
That's
old friend of
cool.
mine, Jordan. And then as we're eating dinner, he brings over another waiter and goes, "Oh, I want to introduce you to he worked for me 5 years ago.
Right.
So I have
It's a
my
small-
staff is working at this restaurant. It was fantastic.
It's
I
a
love
small
to
little
see,
network.
I love to see people
Yeah.
that work for me that go on
Right.
and do that, do other
Nothing
things.
better.
I better get this pasta done here. Hold on real quick. This pasta recipe, guys. Spaghetti carbonara. Spaghetti alla carbonara. It's all about, it's bacon, eggs,
That's quite good.
Parmesan, and pasta. There's no cream in it. It's the simplest thing. This is one of those dishes that I learned how to make when I lived in Rome, and the Romans are very proud of their pasta, as you can imagine. And it's always crazy to me when I hear people are putting cream in their carbonara because it does not belong there. Neither does this shell.
I just want to
I
hear
got it.
Constance and Jimmy and Corwin. What do you think? Yum?
Oh right, I forgot they're eating over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
Lord, what's
What
with
does it
me?
taste like, Corwin? What is it just? Give us a word.
It has a very
Very light.
pungent lemon. The zucchini gives a nice crunch. The
Good.
cheese is like, it's like
Yum.
heaven. You could eat that by itself.
Right. Jimmy?
Great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Just a really nice fresh bite on it.
Awesome. And Constance?
this is really a simple thing to make at home, even for lunch or dinner
Right.
at any time. I mean, it's just really fresh.
Great.
Very cool.
Okay. Round of applause for the chef for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel bad everybody.
Thank
doesn't
you.
get to taste
I know,
it,
it's hard.
Yeah. Oh,
We
Lord,
try to
there's
spread
another
the love.
one. So
That's good.
this recipe, I usually use 4 eggs, or sometimes I'll throw an extra yolk in like I did now, just to give it a little more richness. I've got my bacon that's cooking over here. So what I do is I take my Parmesan cheese, just a little bit, about that much. Some black pepper, because carbonara, one of the main ingredients I find is it's got to have that black pepper sort of bite to it. And then I use a little regular salt and pepper as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all this up. And what happens is the eggs will cook just by the heat of the pasta. So the real trick here is when you make carbonara, it's got to be made and served very quickly. So that's it. That's my base. My bacon's ready, and I like to have a little bit of the fat of the bacon still rendering, still there. I want that in the pasta as well. Got to make sure the pasta's almost ready. And when you put it together, you got to make sure your guests are sitting down. And now al dente doesn't mean this. When some people make al dente pasta and it still like sticks in your teeth, it's got to go farther than that. Nobody eats pasta that sort of that al dente in my mind. And I think this pasta cannot be made with fresh pasta. It has to be made with dried pasta because this sauce needs the dried pasta to hold up to it. And I think that's a very important thing with a lot of different pastas, like matriciana. It's a pasta with bacon, with tomato, with spice to it. That you have to make with bucatini. I think it's the right pasta for that sauce. And there's some other ones more delicate, like a light cream sauce with obviously with truffles. There you'd want to do a fresh pasta.
Right.
That would probably be your better bet. So we're probably about 2 minutes away on this.
Fabio taught us all how to make pasta the other day. So it's important what you're saying is you have to pair the right pasta with the right sauce.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Any questions? I have a couple, but do you all have any? No?
This pasta, by the way, when I went to a boarding school in New Hampshire, I used to make this in my dorm because I was always craving.
You're so well
pasta.
bred.
Some-
You're international and boarding school.
Oh yeah, that
Come on, don't be shy.
they sent me away. Really, is what it really came down to. It wasn't.
How do I
much of
say
a-
your name?
Taro.
Taro, what's your question for the chef?
Oh, I have a restaurant too. I do a lot of private party for a group of 10, 20. I just wonder how much the most money you ever made in private party.
Most money I ever made in private parties.
The other day I got $10,000 for 10 people. That was most expensive.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
I was
good.
just wondering how much.
I'm gonna come work with him. You know what? I don't know if I've done it. Where I sort of measure that is I get auctioned off at a lot of charity events.
That's it.
So I work a lot with City Harvest. I work with Share Our Strength. I work with Mariska Hargitay on the Joyful Heart Foundation and other events like that. And I got to say, being a New York chef and being in New York, it's like the center of the universe for fundraising. It seems like they're always asking us. But it's one of the things I'm most proud of our industry is that chefs in this country get behind so many charities and help out so much. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And it was amazing. I mean, for example, I got auctioned off at Mariska's at her gala, and it was me cooking in her house for 10 people. And it went for $80,000. And then, and then they doubled it because 2 people wanted it, so we did the dinner twice. So we raised $160,000 for her charity.
Isn't that awesome?
That was-
You'll get to 80 grand.
That was my. But I looked. And I got to tell you, there was another charity that I was at. Another benefit of. Hold on, I can't overcook the pasta because they're gonna yell at me. One more minute. I was doing an event at City Harvest. On stage goes Eric Repair from La Bernardin. Everybody knows him, very fancy chef. He usually gets anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000 for his dinners. He's standing on stage, it's up to about 140, and somebody comes and hands him a piece of paper. And he's like, he used an expletive, and he goes, wow. An anonymous person in the audience said they would donate $1 million if he would go to their house and cook, and John Legend was in the audience, and if John Legend comes and plays one song. So he got $1 million for a dinner for 10 people. So I was like, okay, well, that's a high bar to set, right? But I mean,
That's
the level of charity is just absolutely beautiful.
love to hear that you're, trying to make a difference for others. So that's great. I have so much respect for you.
Well, we got to feed people.
Thank
I
you.
tell you.
Yeah, 1 in 5 kids are hungry, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
So-
I work a lot with Share Our Strength.
Yeah, and tell us about that.
Share Our Strength is an organization that's based in D.C. and they raise money. They work on a lot of policy issues going on in the country. As Billy Shore, who's the head of Share Our Strength, always says, which I think he says so eloquently, is that the kids, they don't have lobbyists in Washington, D.C., so we have to be there for them.
Right.
And it's really, really nice that everybody's there trying to help out. Let's get back to the pasta real quick. So I've drained my pasta. Since I have a nice large pan here, I'm going to pour my pasta into that so I can get it nice and coated with the little bit of the fat there, huh? That's good stuff.
So good, everybody.
And then
right?
we're just going to dump it in the egg, and we got to stir really fast so the egg doesn't cook.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't it will cook, but doesn't sort of.
Get hard, like
Yes. What's
Right.
that word? God, I'm losing a lot of words today. There we go. Look at that.
coagulate?
Look at that.
Coagulate?
See how it's getting nice and creamy? The pasta's cooking the egg, but very slowly. It's not scrambling the egg. I found the word. So nervous. Now,
We'll say that word.
the most important thing here is to taste it. Let's see.
Even
Make
with
sure
the
it's
raw
right.
egg,
You
you're
gotta-
cool? You
It's
can
cooked.
taste
The
it?
egg's cooked.
Oh, it's cooked. Okay, yeah.
That's it.
Perfect.
That's it. I think it needs a little more Parmesan. And we'll be good.
Yum.
There's no waiter up
All
here
right.
to help me serve.
Yeah, you got it. You're on your own.
You have to move these.
Ah, I'm going to lose that piece of bacon.
We haven't seen a lot of bacon on these demos, but thank
You
you,
haven't?
for bringing the bacon. Thank you.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we love the bacon.
There we go.
Look, tell us your name back here. Yes, who just came up here? Our chef, our assistant. She's not hearing me. What's your name, sweetie? Merta?
Marisol.
Hey, Marisol.
Marisol. Thank you. I have not met you yet, Marisol. Thank you, Marisol.
I've never used
Looking
pasta
good.
to cook an egg.
God, that's a lot of pasta.
That's a different
Oh,
approach.
good stuff.
Good
So,
size
usually
portions.
Usually a box of pasta will do about 5 people. But since they're really hungry over here, we're going to give them a little extra.
Oh my God.
Going to try to get
So
that.
good.
Want to get that bacon in there. She got to serve the whole thing.
You won't need dinner tonight.
There we go.
Delicious.
Little,
Amazing.
Give the applause for the pasta, everybody.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Yes.
Now,
Really
as I
yummy.
said, I love, obviously, a lot of people here in the restaurant industry, and you guys all know most of you know how to cook, but when I do this demo and I show people this, for the civilians out there, I'm always like, come on, you can do this. This
Right.
isn't that hard. How long did that take? Not much time at all.
Is the recipe in your book?
The recipe's in the book
Okay,
for both
good.
of these.
For both. Perfect.
So then luckily, there's a little left over for me.
Perfect.
So, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, who's got questions? Let's talk about Chopped. And come on down.
Hmm.
I mean, you're a judge on Chopped. It's pretty hard. All the chefs that have been on Chopped have said it's probably the hardest show to be on.
It is definitely, my favorite thing about Chopped is you get those people, those guys, those girls that come on the show, and which is strange now because some of them have been watching it since high school.
Right,
I mean, it's been on for so long.
right.
Scary for me. I'm getting much older, but that
Oh,
happens.
it's good for you.
But it's better than the alternative, right?
Right.
So they come on the show, and they've been sitting there for 6 or 7 years watching Chopped from the couch with the remote control, and they come on, and they're like, this is going to be easy. No problem. I know how to do this. I've watched every episode. I've seen every basket combination. I've been practicing, and they go through that 20-minute round, and then they come and stand in front of us, and they're like, oh my God.
Shaking.
That was so hard. It was so much harder than on television.
Right.
So and I love seeing that because it's really, truly
There's no way to
incredibly
prepare
difficult.
for it.
I don't know why anybody would want to go on it.
I can't imagine. It's frightening. And is it hard when they're the all-stars, when you're judging your own peers?
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, because when Mary
no fun.
Sue, who was there raising money, Chef
Yeah.
Mary Sue, raising money for the charity you support, I thought that was hard for you to have chop her.
It's terrible. But
Oh.
one thing, you have to take all the stories and everything out.
Right.
You got to just look at the food.
Focus at the food.
You got to look at the food. And that's the nice things about the producers on the show is they never get in the way of us judging. We don't wear like those things in our ears and they
IFBs.
talk to us from somewhere else.
Right.
It is a true show where the three of us, and sometimes I know that deliberation period on television seems like very quick, but sometimes it'll take 45 minutes, an hour for us to come to an agreement.
Who's the one that has the most trouble? Chopping.
Most trouble what? Deciding?
Chopping, yeah.
No,
yeah.
no, I mean, we're all pretty much. I mean, I'm the
Okay.
one who's right, but you know,
Okay.
sometimes I just have to tell them what they're.
So Manit is like, okay, like, you know, because she's.
Everybody, you know, we all come around, and it's interesting because sometimes you're eating, and then you start talking about the dish, you know, when we're deliberating and bringing up nuances about it.
Right.
You're like, oh, you know what?
Then it makes
you're right.
sense.
There wasn't really enough acid in that, or something like
Right.
that, and you do end up sort of coming around to a decision.
Right.
We always come to a decision, but the producers never come down and stand in front of us and go,
Tell
I think
us
really
what.
Johnny should win because he's much better at television.
Right,
They
right,
never
right.
do that, which I think is it's part of the integrity of the show,
Right.
and I really respect it for that.
Because you know that's what reality TV is, y'all, but not on Chopped.
Not at all.
Okay, Michelle has a question.
Okay, I'm just
Yes.
gonna eat some pasta while you're asking questions. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, good.
So one of the parts of Chopped that I enjoy the most is the camaraderie that you guys have as judges. And you guys kind of seem to have a blast up there. Are there any judges that you hear that, you know, oh, they're going to be on with you that night or, you know, that day, and you're like, yes.
I purposely they send us, they tell us we're gonna be working with that day. I never look. I walk into the place and I walk into the room where we all put our junk down, and I love being surprised. I'm like, oh, Marcus is here today, great, or you know, or Aaron's here, great. You don't want to, you know. I like it. It's like a little surprise. Who are you going to hang out with that day? And we do all get along very well. We have a really good time.
All right.
Some people in the public think we all live in the same house, I think. They all think we all, which would be very
You all
funny,
live in the
actually.
television at the Food Network.
No, but sometimes they're like, oh, when you see Ann Burrell, would you tell her? I'm like, she doesn't like live in the room next to me.
So true.
It's very funny. We're all friends, but no,
Right.
we all have our separate lives.
We're excited to see who wins the All Stars. So that's coming up soon, right? In the next couple weeks. Yeah.
I
It's
guess
coming
so.
up.
People,
It is
I
coming
don't
up.
actually watch it that often. I've seen it already.
Do you watch any cooking shows? Besides your own? No. Okay.
I'm a little busy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I figured.
I've got so many other things going on.
Okay.
Sitting around watching cooking shows.
Thanks,
I wish
Michelle.
I had time for that.
I know.
Thank
I know.
you.
Well, so what do you do to relax?
I like to go for a run.
Yeah.
Hang out with my kids. Go to a baseball game. My son's very into baseball, so we go to a lot of baseball games together. I go watch
Right.
his baseball games. We travel a fair amount. We just went to Spain. We were in Madrid, Barcelona, Seville.
That's awesome.
And we try to take a spring break, go to a different European city every year.
That's so nice. Okay, Tom, what's your question?
Chef Marc, do you ever put something in your mouth and just want to spit it back out?
Oh,
on
yeah.
top?
Yeah.
Do you remember the worst?
Yeah, there was two. There was one that somebody put, I think it was trout, dipped it right into cornmeal and cooked it. It wasn't cooked. You know, trout's that, you know, a fillet of trout's so thin. It was basically raw corn. It was like eating a fish that had been rolling around in the sand, really. And there was another time when I had a soft shell crab that, I don't know what they did, but every time they flipped it, like that one claw kind of never hit the heat, but it got kind of lukewarm, and I didn't really look, and it was underneath. I put the whole thing in my mouth, and that, you know, that juicy, warm stuff that's like inside of a soft shell crab, lukewarm. Oh, it was really bad. Really, really bad.
Ew.
Yeah, I did spit that out.
Dangerous.
I had to.
It's dangerous
that
judging.
Was gross.
Thank you, Tom.
I
Do you have a
always
follow-up?
figure we should do like a Pepto-Bismol commercial there after the show. It would probably work out very nicely.
What about the other end? Do you have anything that was really good that you?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of good food. I mean, it is very nice. I mean, there are sometimes some really amazing dishes. I don't really remember any off the top of my head. But what's interesting with the baskets, I find sometimes you could give them like potatoes, a ribeye, and green beans, and they could screw that up totally. But then you give them three really crazy ingredients, and they come up with something really good. Sometimes if the ingredients are just make too much sense, it doesn't. It kind of doesn't work.
Right. So is it true you don't like coffee?
It says that somewhere.
I read
I
that.
don't like. What I don't like is I don't like a cup of coffee. I like an espresso
Oh.
after
okay.
dinner.
Okay.
A little grappa.
Yeah.
You know, something to just finish off with. That's fine. But I don't walk around drinking coffee all day.
What about okra?
I don't like that.
Okra. You don't
Okra,
like
I've come around to liking
Okay.
it.
I
A bit, yes.
love okra.
Oh, Constance.
I just had it the other day. Somebody did okra tempura, which was really, really good, except they forgot to put salt on it. So it was.
Ooh. That is what we have learned, that people are not using enough salt, because I think we're all
Right.
scared to use it.
Can we check in over here? How
Yes,
you guys
please.
doing? Are you all right?
It was
No
wonderful.
dessert unless you finish. Oh, wait, I didn't bring dessert. Yeah, all right, I do not have to finish.
Tell us what you think. Go ahead.
Everything all right? You
Constance?
guys enjoying it?
It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
And it's like creamy without any cream.
right. I've never made it this way, so
It's-
I'm going to do this.
So simple. And another great thing, so we have this left over, right? You know what you do with this? You put it in the fridge,
Right. Need it.
and if you had too much red wine the night after while you're having your carbonara, and you might have a little bit of a hangover, I know nobody really does that. Take a bunch of eggs, make a huge frittata, and dump that right. Get like 8 eggs. Well, if this thing, you'd probably need like 20 eggs. This is a huge pan. But then you can dump the pasta right in the middle, throw it in the oven, and bake it off. A frittata with carbonara inside is delicious.
I would have never thought of that.
It is
Yum.
really, yeah, it's pretty killer.
Yeah. Jimmy, what do you think, Jimmy?
I think it's great. I might even buy the book.
Ooh.
He might even
He
buy
might.
the book. Yes,
He might. One
15,000
sold.
more to sell.
Right. Corwin?
Very flavorful and very hearty.
Hardy.
I think.
Hardy,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I always say this is the.
Yeah.
If I was had to go to the electric chair, this is what I would want to eat.
Really?
I hope I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I hope I don't screw up that bad.
I don't think you will. Hi, what's your name?
Josh,
Hi, Josh.
what are a few of the top culinary trends that you're seeing in the industry?
I would say, I feel like the way I like to eat, and I'm hoping it sort of heads that direction, is more casual, easy, understandable food that's really good, not too frou-frou-y. I don't know if that's not really a word, but I think just casual, really good food, and don't mess with the ingredients too much. That's the way I like to see it going.
It's more simplicity.
Yeah, more simplicity. I think just honest food. I think I'm hoping one of the big trends we're seeing it a lot. I think in the big manufacturers is we're pulling away from high fructose corn syrup, which I'd be very happy to see disappear. I think that would be a good thing, help our country a lot. And it was interesting because I'm also part of the Diplomatic Culinary Partnership, and I was just in Washington, D.C., and we were talking to the head of agriculture and all these heads of all these people that have to do with food, and it was about 60 chefs, and the conversation came up about GMOs. And it was interesting to hear it from the government's perspective of how important GMOs are, because there's going to be, I don't know, they were giving us all these numbers, like 90 billion people to feed by 2025 or something like that, and then we're not going to be able to feed the whole world without going into technology and getting things to grow. And so basically by the end of that session that we had with them, we talked about it, and it made a lot of sense that there is a portion of that going there. But so as a chef, we were trying to ask them, we're like, but let's put, instead of 99% of the federal reserve monies going into, getting into GMOs, why don't we split it up? Because we're also going to need home and farms, like regular farms.
Right.
I think a lot more people need to go back out into the land and start farming, and small farms, I think, are going to help feed this nation as well. And that's where you're going to get really, really, I think, healthy and healthy food that's going to be able to keep us going.
Do you utilize local sourcing in your restaurants?
We try to as much as we can. I mean, I'm in Manhattan, so
Yeah.
local for me is like Queens. I mean, it's not growing much in
Right.
Queens, so I have to go a little farther away. But absolutely, we try to work with fishermen that are sustainable. We try to work with all different purveyors in all different capacities, yes.
Great, thank you.
Do you work with Terry French? Come on, Terry. Chef Terry French. Here he is. He's right there.
Where?
He's sitting
I
there.
can't see
You
a
can't
thing.
see.
Oh, how are you?
There he is.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Fisherman.
Ah, there he is. I have these lights in my face.
I
can
know,
barely
it's
see.
hard
Is there
to
two
see.
people out there or
It's
20?
hard to see. There he is, chef. You can't sneak by me. By the way, what do you do in the food industry?
I do research and consulting for food and beverage brands, mainly operators, but we work with a lot of manufacturers as well.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, who else? Last question? Or not last question. 2 more questions. Nicholas, what's your question for the chef?
Yesterday, Jeffrey Zakarian told us to ask you about your first job
What?
on the cruise ship.
Really?
Oh, he did.
Yes,
Thank
he
you.
did.
Thank you, Nicholas. I forgot.
Next question?
Is it true?
No, he did. For some reason, I was living in Genoa, And the
For some reason.
the Aquile Lauro was its main place, a port of call. And my father knew somebody anyway. I ended up being a DJ and a clown on the Aquile Lauro when I was 16.
He didn't say the DJ part, but he did say the clown.
Well, I'm just trying to make it sound a little better.
You just made it. Yeah, you definitely sound a little bit better.
It was a fun job. We started in Genoa. We went all the way up to Lisbon, up in Portugal, back around through the Straits of Gibraltar. Had a couple stops. It was a fun job as a 16-year-old.
16-year-old, that's amazing.
Yeah,
you were very independent.
I was getting in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Yes.
And when you take your kids on their European trips, do you take them to the places like where you grew up, where you live?
Yeah, I mean, we try to go to Paris every year for a
Right.
week. We rent the same apartment, and we try to go there every year, once a year. And we went to two years ago. We went to Rome, Spoleto, and Florence.
Are you bilingual?
Yeah, I grew up
Trilingual?
speaking French, Italian, and English, so I had to I didn't have much choice really. People say, you learn languages.
You're
I'm
an
like, well, I couldn't talk to
international.
anybody if I didn't.
You're an international sexy chef. There you go. Okay, who's got last question? Anybody? This is it, guys. We're shutting it down here at the World Culinary Showcase.
Wait, one more. Here we go.
Come on down.
I hope this is an embarrassing one too.
No. What's your name? Lisa.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
How are you?
I was wondering, I lost 100 pounds, and I know it's a huge challenge.
Wow.
Hard.
I'm trying to lose 10.
Yeah, I know.
And she said at 50, and ladies, we all know what that age means. That's amazing.
Thank you. So I was wondering what kind of, especially with the epidemic with diabetes and obesity, what type of trends do you see restaurants, chefs preparing dishes that kind of address those issues? Are you seeing more vegetables and fresh, high fiber foods? And
I think that in the trends, I think people, obviously we all know kale and quinoa are like, the new everything. For me, the way I do it in my restaurants, I mean, I try to use these new ingredients. They're not new. I mean, they've always been around, but I try to sort of work things in there a little bit more. But in the end, we the clients, the customers have got to, make their own decisions. I mean, I have a pain perdu on my menu. It's a huge piece of bread that's soaked in egg and sugar and cream and cognac, and it's a great breakfast. But you shouldn't eat it every day. I mean, have it once a month maybe, or split it with a friend. But yeah, no, I think that you have to. You just have to eat. For me, and I think restaurants are a lot of the times a good restaurant that tries to get local food. We're not cooking out of boxes and cans and things like that. We're making everything fresh. So I think, to me, people are always like, dieting and this and that. Just eat food.
Yeah.
I mean, I constantly see people. I mean, I'm in New York on the subway. People have got bags of chips. They're eating all this junk. It's like, well, why don't you just sit down 3 times a day and eat a meal and stop doing all this other stuff? You'll be better off.
Yep.
You could probably have a bowl of pasta at least once or twice a week. All the Italians do, and they're doing fine. It seems like they're okay. I think that everything in moderation. I'm a big proponent of changing what I eat all the time as well. If I had steak last night, I'll have fish or I'll have a different type of meat. I wish in this country more meats were more prevalent. In this country we eat, chicken, pork, and beef. Where's the rabbit? Where's the squab? Where's the duck? Where's all these other, I think, meats and all the proteins that we should all be sort of working into our diet? When you look at the Europeans, I know people hate it, but they didn't eat horse meat. I mean, there's a whole variety of meats that can be eaten out there. You don't have to just stick to the 3. And the way we produce those 3 is, they pump them up to get them out to feed everybody. And I don't know if you guys saw the last thing that Tom Colicchio did on CNBC. He did a whole thing on food waste. There was a couple that decided that they should try to only eat wasted food for 6 months, and they did the challenge, and they spent literally $200 in 6 months on food, and they were able to survive.
Wow.
So that's a whole other topic of trying to keep, use up what we have,
Yeah.
We're already growing.
And our kids, I have 22-year-old and I have others, but at 22, she's our oldest, and she has a lot of friends who are all about helping out and doing, figuring out how to do the waste. I have a friend's daughter who started an entire business making baked goods out of the waste from a juice bar. I don't even know how that's possible.
Really?
But yeah.
And we're not talking about eating out of the garbage.
No,
We're
not
talking
at all.
about,
Thank you and congratulations.
They say that 40% of the food that's grown and produced in this country goes in the garbage.
And
there's one point in this show where they're showing a woman walking through parking lot after going to the store, having 4 bags and just dropping one on the ground and going,
Right,
that's
there
what
you
you
go.
do. And it
Right.
happens a lot at home. People just buy too much and don't eat it. The pepper goes rotten, the apples go rotten at home. You gotta,
Right.
and we see, I think, to the older generation, like the older grandparents who are not wasting, I think there was a whole mentality that's
Right.
got to change in the
Right.
country.
But
So
I-
on that note, I better keep eating.
Keep eating. Don't waste a thing.
No,
But I
life
think
is-
the kids of today are really actually being inspired, and it's pretty exciting. What's the one thing, I think, since it's so close to your heart, it's close to mine too, about children that are hungry. What's the one thing we can do? We know we can volunteer, we know we can, donate and all that. But what's the one thing we can do as consumers, as people, to help about, the hunger problem?
I think it's a lot about awareness. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
go on the website, share our strength, and be an advocate. Sign up, and get their newsletters, and learn. Just knowing what's going on out there and how you should be. I think everybody votes.
Right.
We should vote the way it should be to help people.
The
help
face
the
of
kids
hunger
out.
has changed. It's our
Absolutely.
neighbors. So,
Yep.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Mark, Murphy.
Thank you,
You've
thank
been
you.
so much fun. Thank you all for
at
being at our chef table.
I'm the closer.
And Chef Mark is going to be signing his
I'll be
book,
right down there with my bowl of pasta.
Season with Authority, right outside the theater. So go grab yourself a book, buy a book, and get in line. Thank you all so much for being here. Our last World Culinary Showcase demo, sponsored by Vitamix. Thank you, Vitamix, for being our sponsor. You've all been fabulous. Our 15 talented chefs who've graced our stage, and of course, all of you for being here. So thank you, and come on back for next year, NRA 2016. Thank you so much. Bye.